Well, what's going on, everybody? Colin Coogan here with Confluence Outfitters. Today we're up here on the beautiful Upper Sacramento River, just outside of Dunsmuir, California. And today we're just going to kind of talk about a little bit about the river and what it has to offer. In my personal opinion, it's probably one of the best trout fisheries in Northern California, let alone California, hidden right in plain sight. It parallels I-5 corridor coming from Redding all the way up to Mount Shasta. We've got about roughly 20 to 30 miles of fishable trout water up here. And it kind of varies just through the season of where we're at and what we're doing. All right, I'm going to talk to you guys kind of about the different setups that we use out here. I'll start from the top, everyone's favorite, the Dryfly or dry dropper. Upper Sac does provide some opportunities throughout the season to throw dry flies. It is not a myth. These fish do eat dry flies on occasion, especially when there's hatches going on. My preferred weapon of choice is Orvis 5-weight 9-foot Helios rod. If we're running a dry dropper rig, I would like to see, 7.5 to 9 foot 5X tapered leaders. You can get away with 4X if that's what you got in your pack when you're heading out on the river. I'll connect that to, my favorite bigger dry fly for the season if I'm running a dropper nymph underneath. Most of the water types that I'm going to be running that dry dropper is kind of that 1 foot to 3 feet deep of water, maybe walking pace to maybe some chop. So I'll be running, a tungsten bead right underneath that, 1.5 to 3 feet deep underneath. And then I'll get you going under your way. If I'm fishing solo dries, I like a 9 foot to 12 foot 5 or 6X tapered leader on the end of my fly line. That'll just vary depending on the situation and how much back casting room I have and how weary the fish may be. I'm going to talk to you about one of my other preferred methods out here when they're not up eating dry flies or the dry dropper just isn't practical. This is what we refer to as European style nymphing. Some people refer to it as tight line, tactical nymphing. It's all kind of in the realm of the same world. We're using light, long fly rods, 3-weight 10 foot, 3-weight 12 up to 11.5, 12 foot rods. We're using long leaders, light fly line, light tippet, taking that bobber off, and we're just high sticking and picking pockets. This is one of the most effective ways to fish the Upper Sac in the tighter, choppier, shallow water. Sometimes running those bobber rigs just doesn't suffice, being able to get down into where those fish are sitting behind the rocks. If your nymphing is something that you are interested in learning, or maybe you've already been dabbling in it, me and a couple other guys on the roster are proficient in it, and we'd love to teach you how to be more efficient on the water with it. It is a great tactic to take to the Upper Sac, the McCloud, and all the rest of the walk and wade rivers that we have here in Northern California. Always my cleanup method, and on this river, there are definitely spots where I'll kind of go through the paces where I'm gonna fish dry dropper. I may pull the Euro rod out, and then I'm going to do some cleanup work with the strike indicator. There's some water types that set up perfect for this out here, where we're running traditional bobber rig. We're running a butt section, 3 to 4 feet of butt section. You can use an old cut down tapered leader for that. That's kind of what I like to do. And then I'm going to run a blood knot to my running line, or a micro swivel, whatever ease of use fits your preference. That running line, I'm going to be using 4X to 3X fluorocarbon, running another 3 or 4 feet down to my wake knot, and then from there will be my chain of nymphs. Having a max adjustability, in my opinion, is key out here, because there are spots that I want to shallow up and maybe pull the weights off to be able to fish the shallower, slower stuff, and then I want to have that option to go bring it out to 4 to 6 feet deep for some of the pools that we have out here. So rule of thumb is always just be able to adjust that rig up and down. Don't be scared to take off weight, add weight if it's not working. I see a lot of people just out here in passing, they're fishing really long and really heavy, or really short and really light, but they're not just kind of corresponding those to the situations. Just wanted to kind of discuss the what part when you're approaching the river. We're up here on the Upper Sacramento River. A lot of people frequent this place, and we want to help you get better. So bug selection is pretty key. We have a wide range of hatches from start to finish. The season is year-round on the Upper Sac, but I generally would like to look at it is April to about November. That is the window that I'm personally fishing this river with people on. And we have a lot of different hatches through that whole thing. On confluenceoutfitters.com, we have a general hatch chart that you guys can take. You can link right here. Take a look at that. That's a great starting point. What I find as I'm guiding people and I look through their personal boxes as people show me flies and just around anglers out there on their own, is that their fly selection is pretty minimal. I know it sounds like a lot to have a lot of flies, but if you look in my box, I have a decent amount of selection of sizes and colors. I think out here these fish do tend to see a lot of flies going down their lanes, and so being able to have that 18 or have that 20 or have that 16 and 14 depending on the day. Some of the better hatches that we'll see throughout the season, we have a great salmon fly hatch that usually happens in the springtime out here, and then we have this typical blue wing olives, the PMDs, the midges throughout the season, and then we go into what I like the most is what we would call the October caddis hatch. Generally speaking, it can happen as early as October, as the name says it is. I've seen it not happen until end of October into November. It just kind of depends on the season. This is something, if you're interested in doing, it's very similar to like a salmon fly hatch. They're a big caddis. We're throwing big bugs for them. It can be pretty exciting. So if this is something that's on your bucket list to get up here, or maybe you've been fishing it this season and either struggling or just want to work on some of your techniques, learn the river a little bit better, give us a call. We'd gladly help you out, and we'll get you all set up.